guys, it's Michelle. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing a tag, and this is a tag I'm really excited to do, and I wanted to do it last year, but I didn't start my channel until August, so I couldn't. But this is the mid-year book freakout tag, and I'm super excited. Like I said, I wanted to do it last year, but it was August, so it was kind of too late to do it, but we're doing it today. So there's 13 questions, and let's go. The first question is best book you've read in 2019, and that was actually one of the first books I read in 2019, and nothing really has measured up to it. Maybe one, but definitely this one, and that's I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson. This book has been on my shelf for years, just waiting for me to pick it up, and I finally picked it up. I was reorganizing my bookshelf or something, and I saw it there, and I was like, I am going to read this. Now is the perfect time to read it, and it broke me. It was so good, so beautiful. People have been telling me this for years, and I'm like, yeah, whatever, I'll get to it. But holy crap, this is by far the best book I've read so far this year. There is another one that's like a close second, but I'm sure I'll talk about that one in another question. So I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson. If you haven't read it yet, definitely would. This book, I think, came out in 2015, and she is finally working on another book, so I'm very excited for that. The next question is best sequel you've read in 2019, and I've only really read like 2 sequels, and that was the sequel to A Thousand Pieces of You, and I definitely did not like that one. So I think that the best sequel that I've read this year is actually going to have to be New Moon by Stephanie Meyer. I reread the whole series. It's the only sequel that I read that I enjoyed and kept going with the series, so New Moon gets the spot for this one. Can't go wrong with Twilight. Next question is new release you haven't read but want to. Oh my god, there's so many. I'm so behind on life, but there's a couple. Okay, so I just got The Rest of the Story by Sarah Dessen, which I really want to read, and that just came out like 2 weeks ago. So I really want to read that, and I'm hopefully going to put it on my summer TBR since she does summer books. And then Maureen Goo's new one, Somewhere Only We Know, which I feel like is going to be another good summer one. So basically ones that I have been waiting to read till summer are the ones that I'm most excited for. So basically any contemporaries that have come out before now, I'm excited to finally get to. The next question is most anticipated release for second half of the year. I'm gonna go with 2. Wilder Girls by Rory Power and Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. From my understanding, Ninth House is not fantasy. I think it's horror, adult horror. I'm hoping. If I'm wrong and it turns out to be fantasy, I still want to give it a try just because it's not young adult and maybe it'll be different. And from the reviews that I've seen from people who have gotten ARC so far, they've really enjoyed it. So I'm willing to give it a shot. Did not get very far in the Grishaverse. Did not like Six of Crows. So I'm willing to give this adult book a chance. So we'll see. What was your biggest disappointment of the year? Oh Lord. Oh Lord. I'm going with ones that I actually finished, and that is Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I read this as an ARC, and I didn't like it. I gave it 2 stars, and then it was released, and right away booktubers and book bloggers and all these people were praising it, and I was like, where? It could be because I didn't listen to the audiobook, but honestly at this point, now that I know what happens with the story, I have no interest in listening to the audiobook. I know what happens. I didn't think it was good. I didn't like the writing style. It wasn't as good as The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo or her backlist at all. Like I think she completely missed the mark for this one, and I am in the minority with that, and that's totally fine. But Daisy Jones and the Six was a huge disappointment for me, and I'm sad about it. What was your biggest surprise this year? That has to be a book that I just finished and I haven't talked about it yet, and that is Heroine by Mindy McGinnis. That book blew me away. I have read her other book, The Female of the Species, and that was deep and weird and wow. So I was pretty much expecting, with the title and the premise of this book, to also feel the same way, but I was completely blown away by this book. It was a complete surprise to me. I did not think I was going to like it as much as I did. I actually ended up giving it 4.5 stars, and then like 3 days later I was still thinking about it and couldn't get into like any other books because I was still so like deep in that story, and I gave it 5 stars, and it was amazing. It's definitely triggering, it's definitely rough, but that's just like what she writes. But Heroine by Mindy McGinnis was a complete surprise for me, and I loved it. I loved it so much. Who is my favorite new author this year? Ooh. Favorite new author this year is Casey McQuiston. She is the author of Red, White, and Royal Blue. I was lucky enough to read an arc of this, and I follow her on all social medias, and she's a badass, and I really like her a lot. And her book was great. If you haven't read it because you think you might not like new adult, I would say definitely give it a try. It was excellent. And the author is excellent. So Casey McQuiston, she's doing it. Newest fictional crush. I don't know, I'm too old to have fictional crushes. But I'm going to put the next 2 questions together, and that's newest fictional crush and newest favorite character. And that's gonna have to be Noah Sweetwine from I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson. I think like my review for I'll Give You the Sun simply just says I would die for Noah Sweetwine. So I love him. He was a great character. He made me cry. That whole book made me cry, but yeah. Book that made me cry. I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson. There's another one. I cried. Maybe not. Maybe I didn't cry. I haven't really cried. I don't know. I reread The Start of Me and You by Emery Lord this year, and even though I had previously read it, I was still crying by the end. So I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson and The Start of Me and You by Emery Lord made me cry. Book that made you happy. I think overall just rereading the Twilight series made me really happy. I hadn't read them in 10 years, so I wanted to go back and relive my Twilight loving years, and honestly rereading it made me happy. Even rereading Breaking Dawn made me happy, which is saying something. So I would say that was a good experience. So yeah, I was happy doing that. Most beautiful book you bought so far this year? Oh Lord. Oh no. I have no idea. I really like the cover for Hope and Other Punchlines by Julie Buxbaum. I thought that was pretty. Honestly, like all of the covers for all my contemporaries that I've bought have been super pretty. So, and I am guilty of buying books just because the cover is pretty. So I'm not gonna buy a book with an ugly cover. So I'm just gonna say like all the books I bought this year are probably pretty. I'm not gonna lie. And the last question is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? Well, my Goodreads goal is 50 books and I'm at like 33. So I'm hoping to read the rest of the books to complete my challenge. I'm halfway through, and I'm halfway through the year and I'm more than halfway through my reading goal. So I just want to hit my reading goal. This has been a slow reading year for sure, but I think I can do it, and we'll see. But that is the mid-year book freakout tag. I'm really excited I finally got to do this. Thanks for watching my video. See you in my next one.